Alors, maintenant,
Right, so I am now very pleased to welcome the third pair of this afternoon's proceedings. I love the title, Guest Our Passion. So really taking you on a journey. So welcome Vanessa from Agence. Thank you. Vanessa and Alison.
Vanessa.
Merci.
Thank you. Okay, Alison, I'm really very pleased to see you here and to hear from you, because this is the first time that we're actually going to have this opportunity to present the project that we worked on together. Now, 2 years ago, Sébastien Bazin announced that the digital transformation plan for AccorHotels, 250 million euros invested here with the aim of accompanying your customers before, during, and after their stay in your hotels. And this has been divided up into pillars, the voice of the guests. So tell us about this project. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, indeed. I didn't spend 250 million euros. I just used a very small part of that budget. So the platform Voice of the Guest was set up to combine two things: ordinary satisfaction surveys that we use following a guest stay at the hotel, and also online reviews of the hotel. And we put everything on the same platform with the aim of moving from a traditional NPS score to what we now call a reputation performance score, which takes into account their answers to questionnaires and their reviews. And so the platform combined customer opinions from 250 different sources, and we had all of this information in real time for hotels. Yes, so this is a platform where hotel operators, so you wanted to give this tool to people running hotels so that they could see them in real time and see information about satisfaction surveys, but also information coming from web resources. I know this is extremely important in your business. And also include the local area to see what the challenges are in terms of nearby hotels and nearby competitors. Yes, it really is a tool that is ready to use. People can also set their own benchmarks in terms of their customers. It's very important to have a good score, but it's even better if your score is better than your competitors. One of the key challenges of your organization is that you have brands, and these brands have different internal organizational structures. So if somebody is responsible for this, I mean, in an Ibis hotel, for example, it's the same tool that everybody uses, and it's the same requirements for everybody in terms of the score. But also there is this question of how do you organize yourselves very quickly, and beyond deploying the tool, how do you accompany the reality of the hotel managers and the operators? Should you reply? Should you send guidelines to the corporate department to see how hotel operators take decisions? So we realized afterwards that, bear in mind that there are different configurations also depending on where you are internationally. And so in the corporate department, we realized that we need a living tool, a community, essentially. Yes, that was sort of the paradox that we were confronted with, setting up rules, but while at the same time enabling complete freedom for the hotels and also taking into account cultural differences. So yes, following the interviews with the operational staff, out of this came out this idea. They came out this idea of creating a customer experience community where we had both the practical side of how to manage this platform, but also how to include the different populations in the hotel, how to bring them to work together better, to share best practices, to share advice. in how to deal with customer comments and remarks when they arise, how to deal with the customer comments in the hotel, and how to manage the whole team and organize them around these scores. Well, let us now watch a video to see how the AccorHotel community operates.
Brands' online reputation influences customers' likeliness to buy as well as their loyalty. To keep on improving their reputation, AccorHotel is making customer centricity a priority. Whether it is before, during, or after their stay, the hotels thrive in offering guests the best experience. In order to support hotels through these changes, AccorHotel launched the Customer Experience Community, an internal community that brings together AccorHotel team members to encourage and promote collaboration and mutual assistance on the subjects of customer experience, exchange best practices, co-create articles and share their sparkles, the unique and unexpected experiences they create to thrill the guests. Available on all devices, in all languages. The community gives employees from all over the world the ability to share and exchange, regardless of their area, segment or brand. With more than 1,100 contents published in less than a year, the Customer Experience Community inspires members to co-create the customer experience on a daily basis to make the guest feel welcome.
Alors, chez The Social Club,
So we have a methodology in social community to work with communities. We have a very specific definition of what we mean by a community. It's a group of people that we need to connect amongst themselves, for them to produce content, so for them to be able to tell this story. So what we tried to do was first and foremost identify who we needed to connect amongst themselves. There was hotel managers amongst themselves and hotel managers with corporate, and we thought of the intrinsical value. Why are people going to spend time on this platform? Why are they going to produce content on this platform? And what we realized during this period, during our framing period, is that in the intrinsical values, there was this need to be worked with on the usage of a platform, the need to talk about it, to discuss what my customers tell me, how do I manage it, and a need for recognition too, because lots of wonderful things happen in the hotels. And we need to say, okay, well, we work on that every single day. And actually, there's a corporate need to reuse the info. So we based ourselves on 4 different types of interaction. That's our foundation. And there's 4 modules within the community that allow us to meet these 4 needs. So these 4 modules, there's one part that's called news, which allows corporate to talk to the hotels, to make documents available for them, or new stuff, and explains several things. And there's an FAQ part, which asks questions, and we can follow all the question threads because the answers aren't all the same. It depends on the regions or the country. There's also a forum part that's even more interactive to have real-time conversations. And another part you can see up on the screen, it's just stopped on one picture. It's the sparkle part, these special moments, memorable moments, which mean that the staff of our hotels can share what they've done with customers worldwide. So That's our idea, happy employees, happy guests. You've heard of that earlier on. And indeed, it's a staff commitment and a pride of working for AccorHotel. And actually, in this interaction model in a community, there's one point that's quite important. It's all this little data that makes us unique. And there's currency, social currency, that we've created within the community. The famous applauses, where nowadays hotel managers all share movements and special moments, and they can get recognition from their peers with these applauses. It's not very original. We've all heard of Employee of the Month and so on and so forth, but it's in the context of social media and this famous platform where there's a ritual every single month to make sure that the sparkle that got the most applauses gets a prize, they get a certificate signed by Mr. Bazin with a little trophy, and all that is going to lead to one big event on the first anniversary birthday of his community in about 10 days' time. So how do you organize yourself nowadays? Because all your hotels are connected nowadays on the platform. Yes, about 5,000 people. So we had to go beyond the framing actions. We had to organize ourselves, steer all this. Could you please share your achievements with me? A little team in Paris that worked with a social client, with a community manager who helps us manage these contents and moderate. Well, it's not so much moderation, but we don't want to moderate sparkles, but we've set some rules. And actually, we've got ambassadors who represent us in our offices in all these countries, and they supply content. We've got an editor-in-chief who speaks every month, and that's allowed us to manage lots of concept. And we're really in the exchange of best practices, because an idea that was born in Bangkok is being reproduced in Sao Paulo, and so on and so forth. So just imagine how this is really a virtuous circle. And sometimes you hear these funny stories. Some hotel managers don't understand the language used on the rating site, so they just copy and paste the comment, and they ask someone from on the other side of the planet to explain what the customer said. Yes. Instead of using Google Translate, it really is real translation. Now, when we have linguistic exchanges for translation, but in more difficult cases, to really communicate about something, to send a key message for everyone to be in line, nothing better than a platform for everyone to agree. You also set up an editorial committee, but it's a rolling committee. Yes, thanks for asking that. Yes, this editorial committee meets once a week with a community manager, with the Paris teams, and sometimes two participants from various divisions in the headquarters, because gradually we're rolling this out on other subjects, not just voice of a guest on our customer ratings platform. This happens every month, and we generate more and more content. We see what works, what doesn't work, and we make sure there's always this constant information flow that arrives on the platform. So a few results that you accepted to share with us today for the production of content. In under 1 year, we've already got 1,100 content. And globally, it would have been so much longer to build them one by one, whereas here it was quite fast. And what about the steering? How do you implement this community? How do you steer it? What do you expect from all of these KPIs? Well, these are KPIs that are quite easy to follow. And if you've got 4,000 hotels and 5,000 people, we've got about 6,000 people nowadays, because we talk about the staff in reception in hotels, because we mostly focus on the welcome in hotel, because customer experience goes so much further than welcome. So we want to roll it out into other services, which is why we've got 5,000 to 6,000 people. And gradually, as we add hotels to our portfolios, we do onboarding in comparison with other brands, and it really widens the scope. We were also talking about sparkles. I think we've gone beyond. These past few days, we've gone beyond 800 sparkles, so we're getting ready for the 1,000th sparkle. Thank you very much. Congratulations. It was fascinating. Lots of stuff there, lots of good stuff. It really did echo what we were talking about this morning on staff commitments and staff being on board. So Vanessa gave us a live Q&A. I do have a first question, but I couldn't include to the session. What's your next step? The next step? Well, it's a pre-session, is it? Well, we didn't talk about the next step. We're moving on to a Q&A. Well, we're widely rolling it out to other subjects because it's the first example of this kind of platform in a group. We have lots of other teams from different divisions who want to put their subject onto the platform, because on top of customer centricity, we are changing the management model in hotels. So we're breaking down the organizational chart, and there's less hierarchy and so on, and everything that's been done today, in comparison with everything that's been done today. On top of this, we're wondering about how we can go on talking with our customer, what were their experience, digital online experience for reservation, the fact they've been able to do check-in online, the fact they've joined their hotels, and how can they go on talking with us. We're on e-messenger, we're on chatbots and so on and so forth. And all that, we do that bearing in mind that what's the main thing is the guest relationship. Are there any questions from the floor? Yes, I did have a question for Alison. If I want to launch a community like yours tomorrow, what would the first piece of advice you'd give me be? I think that the main thing that we've done with the social customer client is we tried to see what our teams needed. We had a survey with our teams. We could have imagined all sorts of stuff we'd have really loved, but in the end of the day, it really is the staff in the hotels, the people who are with the customers on a daily basis. What do they need to have to simplify their daily work? A community is so much more than a technical platform. Above all, it's people who connect amongst themselves. So the point is to identify what their interest is, to produce within this interface, this content interface. And actually, we do know that 90% of the people who join the community just come and take a look. That's why we had our ambassadors program. So, because we have people who produce lots of content and are animated by all sorts of desires. 5 minutes on this is the average time people spend on the site. They're here to just look and learn, to share with their teams, because not everyone in a hotel is behind a screen. So there's a transmission of what I saw on the platform and what I send to other teams. Great. Thank you very much. It was fascinating.